That's the game right there. 22 offensive rebounds. It's hard to overcome that when they have that many possessions. We talked about it pregame. We talked about it in our meeting. This is a team that crashes the offensive glass. We got to do the small details of boxing out, hitting guys, and then going to pursue the rebound before you can get out on the break.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the All Things Basketball podcast. I'm your host, Vic Lopez, as always, and this is probably going to be a relatively quick, kind of random thoughts episode that I want to do about the Orlando Magic, a team that I have enjoyed watching over the years. And I got to say, like, if you're an Orlando Magic fan, like an OG fan, not one like me that just, enjoys watching their games here and there, you have to be incredibly annoyed, frustrated, depressed, confused, just all kinds of bad stuff going through your head, right? And there's a lot of optimistic things that you can also think about your team. And mind you, I usually come prepared with notes and game clips and I do all this stuff. This is going to be a different kind of a video where I just kind of express my thoughts as I go through the line on this team, right? So like a season ago, this team they were just injury plagued. And they still managed to win 41 games, and they still managed to make the playoffs. They still managed to be a top defensive team in the league despite missing all those guys in the lineups. And how could you not think that this team was at least in position to somewhat get close to that, or maybe win 47 games at least, like they did a couple seasons ago when they really broke out? And you would think, okay, if they're healthy, if Jalen Suggs isn't missing time, if you get Franz and Paolo with enough time, maybe Anthony Black develops, obviously the Desmond Bane trade makes you feel a little optimistic. A guy in that backcourt that can knock down tough shots, go get his own buckets, play also some defense, right? Like play hard. And all of a sudden you're feeling really good, right? Jace Richardson, really good draft pick, right? I'm really excited about this guy in the future. He's showing a lot of good stuff, and then it's like, you're looking down the line and you got Jonathan Isaac, who I still don't understand. Like, he showed some shooting from outside and then that quickly just disappeared. That's another guy that kind of has gone through injuries throughout his career. Mo Wagner was going to miss time this season because obviously he had torn his ACL, and, him coming back, you're thinking, all right, well, whenever he gets back, this thing will kind of look a little better too. Tristan da Silva is a guy that I really liked when they drafted him. He does a lot of good stuff. He's still relatively young, but here we are. The Magic have won 29 games. They're 8th in the conference. And look, if you're looking at games played, you got the Tyus Jones experiment is completely gone. I mean, they abandoned that so quickly, faster than I even thought it was going to happen. Jalen Suggs, again, missing time. He's played 34 games so far. You got Franz Wagner, who's played 28 games. He's also been out. Paolo Banchero has missed a few games. The silver lining has kind of been that Desmond Bane is back to life, right? He's been playing really well as of late, right? Finally being able to knock down shots and looking more like the player you thought you were going to get when you traded for him versus the guy that started the season, which was really bad and it was looking rough, right? There was a lot of like abandoned ship talk with Desmond Bane, people saying they should trade him already and things like that. And it's like Anthony Black is having this breakout season where he's showing, obviously he's been this defensive guy for a long time. We knew that pre-draft, playing with good size at the point guard slot. He can rebound for you. He can kind of like do a little bit of everything, guard multiple positions. He's a really good passer, can play fast, very athletic, can like protect the rim in a lot of situations, surprisingly, because of the way this guy can just jump and time his blocks and things like that. And then the evolving three-point shot, right? Like he's 34% from three, which isn't like, oh my God, a sniper, but he has really developed the three-point shooting in a way that makes you feel optimistic for the future for him. But then, you're kind of looking at this as a whole, right? And this team still isn't good on offense, right? They've even slipped defensively, right? You could say that because of the Jalen Suggs thing, Franz Wagner missing time, like that kind of stuff is going to hurt you a lot. And so, there is that. But it's like offensively, even with Desmond Bane here, with Anthony Black, like turning it up a notch, at least from the outside, it still feels like this team isn't good on offense. Like we saw that more recently against the Suns, which was last night's game, which prompted me to make this video. And I'm thinking like, everyone's turning on Jamal Mosley. And look, rightfully so, I haven't been happy with him as the coach. I don't know how long it's going to last for a coach complaining about the same things when it comes to effort, when it comes to not showing up defensively. And it's like, yes, has this team kind of not been the defensive machine that it's been in the last couple of seasons? No. But at the same time, like, this team is just completely handicapped by their inability to produce offensively consistently enough, right? A lot of that has to do with just the bad spacing that they have not been able to figure out, right? And it's like, you're thinking, all right, well, we have Wendell Carter, right, who can theoretically space the floor, right? And here's the issue with this. It's like, yeah, he's our spacing big. And let me just read you, like, the last few seasons that he shoots from three. 32.7, 35.6, 37.4, which is probably like his career high right now. And then it's 23.4, and then this season he's 32.4. So he's this like fake stretch big that doesn't really stretch the floor, right? He doesn't even shoot it that well from three. And then you're like, all right, well, what is he doing out there that makes this all make sense? And it's like, well, he's just another sizable guy that can guard multiple positions, help us kind of rebound, help us hopefully space the floor when we kick it out to him and he's wide open. But he doesn't put fear in a team's heart. Like, teams can cheat off of Wendell Carter Jr., just like they can cheat off of everyone else except Desmond Bane and maybe even Tristan da Silva, who isn't this like elite shooter either. He just happens to be like, one of those guys that can make threes. And so all of a sudden you've just got this cluttered area that you're working with if you're Paolo Banchero, who prefers to put the ball down, post up, and get these long twos that don't go in most of the time, getting to the rim. And then, he's not this great free throw shooter either. And it's like Franz Wagner wants to do some of the same things. These are two guys that have a lot of size, right? You hope that this is like another version of like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, where you have these two bigger players, right, at their side, at their positions, that can do multiple things and hopefully develop some like creation, like self-creation on offense and shooting, right? But it's like none of that has happened for these two guys. And so all of a sudden we're looking at this team like, what the hell has been constructed? You've got these two guys who still can't shoot from the outside. They both operate in the same areas of the floor. They both need to put the ball down and attack. They both need the ball to make their biggest impact on the team. Paolo is like this guy that can defend, but he's not an elite defender. Like, guys blow by him way too easily on the perimeter. And, that kind of stuff makes it tough to watch because Franz is a better defender than Paolo. I don't know, like, we've entered this space where now the conversation is, well, who are they going to move now? Like, who do they decide to build for? Are they trying to move in the direction of let's build around Paolo, or are they going to try to build around Franz? And it's like they could definitely get really good pieces for their team trading either guy, because these guys are still really young with a lot of potential and they show it night to night. But it's just like together, it just hasn't made sense. And then you're looking at Jamal Mosley and you're like, well, what does he do? What does any coach do with a team that doesn't make sense for the most part? Like, even on offense, it's like, okay, Jalen Suggs plays hard on defense. And it's like, yeah, he gets hot and he's shown that he can shoot it from outside. But for the most part, he's not a guy that scares you. Anthony Black, who's developed, not a guy that scares you. Wendell Carter Jr., not a guy that scares you. And so all of a sudden, all you got to worry about is Desmond Bane when you're guarding the Orlando Magic. And yet this guy still goes off, right? He's just that good offensively. And everything else is just predictable. Like, when you throw it to Paolo and he starts backing people down from the elbow all the way in, it's like you just start digging in and hope that he passes it off. And most of the time, like, if he does kick it out and you don't happen to get a deflection and score on the other end from one of those Magic turnovers, it's like, all right, well, we'll just get there late, contest the shot, and more often than not, it's going to be a miss, and we're going the other way. And you're watching this game against the Phoenix Suns, and it's like a team that has such great perimeter shooters. Like, Grayson Allen is a sniper. Colin Gillespie is an elite shooter. You got Royce O'Neal, who can also really shoot it from outside. Jordan Goodwin is another guy that can knock down shots. And so, like, even Dylan Brooks, who had to go out, he broke his hand, apparently, after the news came out. And so, you play this game without Franz, right? Without Jalen Suggs. And, no Devin Booker. Dylan Brooks misses the whole game, basically, after like a few minutes of play. It's like the most frustrating way to lose a game, where the guy that is not having a good night at all, like he's missing every free throw up until the end. He's like 0 for 4. This dude was off all night long, and he's the one that ends up knocking down the game-winning 3. And it's like, it's just back to the drawing board for the Orlando Magic. And it's like, what are we doing right now? We're outside of the top 10 in defensive efficiency. Again, yes, they have guys out of lineup, so it happens. And it's going to make things hard. But it's like, offensively speaking, you're not keeping up with the teams that can actually shoot from outside, because your only ace in the hole is, well, if we have a hot night, we are a dangerous team. The problem is they don't have many of those. And also, like, if you're not cutting off the water for the opponents at the 3-point line, you're in for a rough night. And so I just say this to say, like, I'm just really frustrated watching this Orlando Magic team. Like, this is not a fun watch this season. It feels like there's a tremendous amount of pressure on Jamal Mosley. And look, I don't know how much more a coach can do with a roster like this. If I'm just keeping it 100, obviously I'm not an NBA coach. I'm sure there's some things that could change here. But overall, this just looks like a very flawed team. And so it's like, okay, cool, get rid of Mosley, right? Bring in a new coach. What's the concept here? Because you still have the same shooting problem. Like, these guys aren't just going to shoot better out of nowhere just because you change the coach, right? The players are the players. I'm just not happy about this team. And I mean, that's all I got to say about this Magic team. You guys, you can leave it in the comments. Let me know like how frustrated you guys might be at watching this team every single game. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one.